Run it back. Chandler's having some issues right now. He's back. Had him all last season. It was fantastic. Senior NBA writer for The Athletic, Sam Amick, is back on the show. There he is. Boom, different room. Oh, no, this is a hotel. We're in a hotel, aren't we?
Oh, yeah. We were looking forward to the Toucan.
Yeah, we wanted a Toucan, but that's all right. Well, first of all, how was your off season? Did you get any good times?
I was good, guys. Great to be back with you. It was good until like September when all the non-basketball stuff popped up and we got a little too busy too early. But, you know, we got to the Hawaiian Islands. We got away and had to be back.
Well played, sir. Well played. All right, well, we are going to just do basketball because I know yesterday was another one of those types of days. But LeBron out to start the season with sciatica. I know that threw a lot of people off kilter, but here we are. Then they lose opening night to the Warriors. All eyes will always be on that team. We know that he is monitoring the situation. Is there a world in where we see him ask for a trade this year?
I think there's a world. I just don't see it because honestly, I think LeBron and even somebody of Giannis' stature, when you talk about being younger and at this point better, today's NBA, you move around. And I think honestly, that's kind of what these guys learned in the summer is that if you're Giannis and you're frustrated with your situation, and I know we're going to talk about him, if you're LeBron and you're not quite sure that you might want to finish things up in Lakerland, you look up and it's the second apron environment. It's the fact that, you know, free agency even is not what it used to be. You can't go get that max deal somewhere else. And trade-wise, it's funny, it was on my mind last night watching that Warriors game because we know about LeBron having shown some interest to maybe join those guys, which, you know, if you could just snap your fingers and make it happen, it would be interesting. It's just not that simple. So never say never, but I was in LA for the opener, and it was kind of sad to see him on that sideline knowing that A, he's not healthy enough to go, and that B, it's just kind of crunchy right now when it comes to this final chapter for him.
Yeah.
Sam, you know all things Warriors, so I got to ask you about the whole Jonathan Kuminga thing. Obviously, right before the season, he signs that 2-year deal, and there's still a bunch of chatter, and now he's still a trade piece. He started both games. He's played pretty good first 2 games of this season. Is it more likely that he's still a trade asset and he's going to be moved to the deadline, or is he now officially a piece of that kind of core and future going forward?
Chandler, I think it's both. You know what I mean? It's funny. I talked to some Warriors people after they beat the Lakers about that question. And my thing was, all right, now how long is this list of players that they would legitimately think about moving JK for? And I was a little shocked to be told that it's kind of like 1.5. I mean, I'm sure it might be longer than that, but we know that if something happened with Giannis, and we have to find out if he even would ever want to go there, that would be a guy that you know, John would be in a deal like that. From there, Trey Murphy III's name comes up, but because he's looked good and because Steve Kerr's, you know, been praising him for changing his game a little bit, and you start hearing the maturity word quite a bit, I think it's interesting, though. It's like it's a chicken or the egg. You know, even though his contract is not what he wanted it to be, he is finally getting paid to some degree. You know, he's had these moments where Steve Kerr feels like he's done some of the stuff that he hasn't in the past that frustrated them. And his teammates have been supporting him and rocking with him. And like I got asked the other day, is there any, you know, friction between, you know, the guys in the locker room? And I don't think there's any. They've managed to make it work, and it's only a couple games, but it's looked pretty good.
Starting off 2-0 also helps, though.
Yeah, that's also,
yes,
that feels great. The Giannis trade saga. Look, the Knicks part of all of this is going to be fascinating for a while. You started an article that's with to be continued. He's too good a dude to not request it publicly, but I don't know what's going on behind closed doors there. Is this something that strictly will be dealt with after the Bucks season, first of all?
I don't know. I mean, if they struggle, then I think you got to watch it. You know what I mean? Like I give the Bucks some credit in terms of the way they framed this thing after a kind of a loud summer with Giannis was that with, you know, Tyrese Halliburton's injury, with the Pacers and some of the other stuff that went on, you can squint a little bit and see a world where the Bucks can be one of the better teams in the East. They sold Giannis on Miles Turner at a time when, you know, when that deal first went down, it was hard to tell if A, he had been told about it and, you know, during the discussions, and B, if he was a big fan of it. Since then, you know, Giannis has said nothing but great things about Miles. So they have convinced him to kind of play ball with this group for now. As you guys know, though, he's been pretty candid about the way he sees it. And I kind of love that. Like, there's so much, when it comes to stuff that gets reported and then players speaking on it, where a lot of times they won't just say the truth about what's going on. He's been pretty transparent. Like, he's looking to contend. He loves Milwaukee. He loves the Bucks. It's nothing personal. But if it doesn't go well and if they really don't look good, then I think it could get louder.
I mean, look, the season's still going on, and he's spotted crossing the street with his family in Manhattan. Like, that's a weird destination spot during season playoffs. But here's my question, though, because as fun as that seems to be, him playing in New York, what can they possibly offer to get a guy like Giannis?
I mean, Jalen Brunson's off the table. That in and of itself is probably a deal breaker for now. Where if you're the Bucks and you're John Horst, their longtime GM, John has also been transparent, at least behind the scenes throughout this whole thing, and saying, like, he's not gonna take anything less than, like, everything from you if he's ever gonna trade Giannis. That he's coming for blood, so to speak, as far as a deal like that, because that market and that franchise, that's the greatest player they've had since Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and they want to survive if they have to move off of him. So with Jalen off the table, then the discussion kind of shifted to the other guys on the roster, but there's nothing there. There just isn't. And the Knicks, at least for now, it's a little bit like with the Bucks, where you got to see how they play. New York, it sounds counterintuitive, but they legitimately looked at the Giannis thing and said, we're pretty invested in what we have right now. We just added Mike Brown as our coach. We think that we're legitimate title contenders, and that belief in what they have, at least for now, again, kind of pushed that situation back a bit.
Hold on. Wait. So if they could have figured out a way, something, they were like, nah, we're good?
Yes. They it's kind of like put in the back pocket. And honestly, I think Giannis knew that. You've lodged your interest in us, but the question is, were they ready to go ahead, hit that button, and blow up all the work they'd done to build this roster, and the season they had last year? And, the coaching change obviously was pretty controversial, but they thought they leveled up. Agree or disagree, that's how they saw it. And no, they didn't want to hit that button and start over. Now, I don't know where the deal could have been done on the Bucs side with John, but yeah, the Knicks, they feel really good about what they have, and they're kind of waiting on the other situation.
That's a little shocking to me. By the way, if it's not New York, because 2 years ago, did I not say Giannis is going to be a Knick when it's all said?
You sure did.
So I'm already committed to that mentally. But if it wasn't there, is there another team that we could kind of look to possibly?
I don't know, but we're talking Warriors. I did spend part of yesterday trying to get some clarity, like on that scenario. If you go back to All-Star Weekend, and I've written this a little bit, Steph Curry hosts a party at the Splash Restaurant and Bar next to Chase Center. And honestly, just in terms of this job cracking me up sometimes, it's late night. There's, people around the NBA all over this party, and I'm actually sitting there talking to Joe Lacob at this thing, and I look up at the stairwell, and none other than Giannis, the only non-Warrior in the room, is going up the stairs with his wife Mariah and going to hang with. It was Steph and Draymond up there, and it just, the optics of it made you go, oh boy, here's like early recruiting days. It made you kind of think of the KD, kind of partnership that they had back in the day. I kind of circled back on some of that stuff yesterday, and it was actually kind of told, like, yeah, they're obviously good relationship, good, friendly. Steph has the same agency as Giannis, but not the type of smoke you might have thought as far as, that being something that was kind of percolating in the background. New York is the only one right now for me where it's really clear that Giannis does have interest there.
Yeah, and Sam, I know the season is very early, and like you said, we're trying to sort out all of these different scenarios. But if there had to be one big name to be moved by the deadline, what's your guess on that?
I don't know about move, Lou. I think, and we might hit on this a little more later, but the Atlanta situation, it's not about getting moved. It's just
Dub Nation, we've got breaking news that's going to put a smile on every Golden State fan's face. And it starts with Draymond Green's voice echoing through the locker room. The Warriors' emotional leader just dropped a statement that says it all. DeAnthony Melton is coming back, and this team is about to get even stronger. Now let's rewind for a moment. The Golden State Warriors are off to an incredible start to the 2025-26 season. 2-0, perfect out the gate, with statement wins over two of the West's toughest opponents. Opening night, they dismantled the Los Angeles Lakers 119-109, without even needing LeBron's absence as an excuse. Then they went into Denver, a building that's been a fortress for the defending champions, and came out on top in an overtime thriller, 137-131. Steph Curry was sensational. 42 points, clutch three after clutch three, 22 points in the second half alone. Jimmy Butler was a force, scoring 21, diving for loose balls, setting the tone. And Draymond, the man nearly put up a triple-double, 13 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, plus his trademark defensive orchestration that doesn't always show up in the box score. But even with all that firepower, Draymond wanted to make one thing clear. There's one player whose absence last season hurt this team more than people realized. That player is Melton. In an interview this week, Draymond said it plainly, quote, "When Melton got hurt last year, that really took a toll on our team. He was really good for us and a big piece of what we were doing. Then he got hurt and everything changed." End quote. That's not just lip service. If there's one guy in the NBA who doesn't hand out fake compliments, it's Draymond Green. When he calls someone a big piece, it means that player fits the Warriors' identity: hustle, defense, intelligence, and selflessness. So let's talk about Melton. Melton was supposed to be the missing link when the Warriors signed him in the 2024 offseason, a two-way guard who could defend multiple positions, shoot the three, and fit seamlessly next to Curry. In the first 6 games of that season, he looked like everything Golden State had hoped for. He averaged over 10 points a game, shot 38% from deep, and gave them that much-needed balance in the backcourt. Then disaster struck. A torn ACL against the Dallas Mavericks in November. Season over. It wasn't just a blow to Melton. It sent ripples through the whole roster. The Warriors suddenly lost their perimeter stopper, their secondary ball handler, and one of their best transition defenders. And if you watched last season closely, you could see the void. The defense got inconsistent. The rotations were shakier. Steve Kerr had to experiment with lineups that weren't meant to coexist. The second unit's defensive rating tanked, and in crunch time, the team just didn't have that reliable guard who could stay in front of elite scorers. That's why Draymond's words matter so much. It took a toll on our team. That's the kind of honesty that tells you Melton's impact isn't about numbers, it's about presence. Now let's fast forward to today. Melton's recovery has been long, methodical, and focused. The Warriors' medical staff is optimistic that he'll be reevaluated in the next few weeks, with a possible return window in mid to late November. He's been spotted at the Warriors' practice facility, doing light drills, working on lateral movement, and slowly regaining rhythm. Insiders from The Athletic reported that the team is extremely encouraged by how his knee has responded to treatment. And here's the kicker. The Warriors didn't have to bring him back. After all, when he got hurt, his contract was expiring. Golden State traded him and 3 second-round picks to the Brooklyn Nets for Dennis Schroeder, a short-term insurance move. That could have been the end of the story. But this offseason, when Melton hit free agency again, the Warriors didn't hesitate. They picked up the phone, reached out, and brought him back on a 1-year, $12.8 million deal. That tells you everything you need to know about how much this organization values him. Steve Kerr sees Melton as the ideal Warrior role player, a gritty, unselfish, defensive-minded guard who thrives in chaos. He can switch across positions, pressure ball handlers, hit open threes, and move the ball within Kerr's motion offense. He's like a hybrid between Gary Payton II and Shaun Livingston, defensive one, poise of the other. And make no mistake, the numbers back it up. Before his injury, Melton was ranked in the 92nd percentile among NBA guards in defensive efficiency, according to Cleaning the Glass. He held opposing guards to under 42% shooting when matched one-on-one. He also averaged 1.7 steals per game over his last 2 healthy seasons. Those are elite defensive numbers, the kind of impact metrics that don't just fill box scores, they swing games. That's what the Warriors missed. That's what Draymond's talking about. Because if you look at this current Warriors roster, It's loaded, yes, but balanced defense is the key. Steph Curry is playing at an MVP level. Jimmy Butler has brought that Miami toughness and postseason intensity. Al Horford has slotted in perfectly, stretching the floor and anchoring the paint. Jonathan Kuminga's athleticism is giving the bench a burst. But the one thing this team still craves is that perimeter lockdown defender who can take the opponent's best guard and make him miserable. That's De'Anthony Melton. Imagine this rotation once he's back. A backcourt of Curry and Melton, Jimmy Butler sliding between the 2 and 3, Draymond quarterbacking the defense, Horford handling the 5. Off the bench, Kuminga, Podziemski, Gary Payton II, and Moses Moody, who's also expected to return soon from his calf injury. That's depth, that's versatility, that's playoff DNA. And it's no coincidence that the Warriors veterans are hyped about it. They know what's coming. Draymond even said it himself. He'll be rehabbing, but we've got the depth to withstand his rehab. Translation: this team is winning now, but when Melton's back, they could be unstoppable. Let's also put something into perspective. The West is loaded. The Thunder are young and hungry. The Nuggets are still defending champions. The Suns are a star-studded experiment. The Lakers are dangerous when healthy. And yet through all of that, the Warriors are right there, with the best player-leader combo in basketball. Steph Curry's brilliance, Jimmy Butler's toughness, and Draymond Green's defensive genius. Add a fully healthy De'Anthony Melton, and this team's perimeter defense goes from good to terrifying. Don't forget, last season, before Melton went down, he had 2 games with at least 3 steals and multiple clutch threes. He's not just a defensive stopper, he's a tone setter. He brings energy, grit, and poise. He plays with that underdog chip that fits perfectly with Golden State's culture. And if you want to talk about chemistry, this reunion makes sense emotionally too. Melton was beloved in that locker room. Reports from NBC Sports Bay Area noted that his absence was felt in team morale as much as in rotation depth. Players like Curry and Payton stayed in touch with him throughout his rehab. Bringing him back wasn't just a basketball move, it was about family. This is what separates the Warriors from other teams. They don't just build rosters, they build relationships. They value trust, loyalty, and that's why guys like Draymond and Steph keep giving everything to this franchise, year after year. So when you see Draymond light up talking about Melton, that's not PR talk. That's a brother welcoming another brother back home. Here's what's next. The Warriors will likely continue easing through their early season schedule, managing veteran minutes while integrating younger players like Will Richard and Brandon Podziemski. But once November rolls around, expect the coaching staff to start prepping a defensive scheme that includes Melton's role in the rotation, especially for matchups against guard-heavy teams like OKC, Sacramento, and Minnesota. And just picture it. Late in the 4th quarter of a playoff game, Warriors up 3, 45 seconds left. Opponent tries to isolate their star guard on a switch, but Melton's there. Quick hands, perfect stance, steal. Outlet to Curry, bang, game over. That's the impact we're talking about. So yes, the Warriors are already great, but when De'Anthony Melton returns, they're going to be complete. And that's the scary part. They're already 2-0 without him. Steph Curry said it best in a recent post-game interview, quote, "We're playing with freedom right now, but once we get all our pieces back, that's when we'll really know what we can be." Draymond knows it, Kerr knows it, Dub Nation knows it. The dynasty is far from done. It's evolving again, piece by piece, the same way it always has. So, Dub Nation, what do you think? How big of an impact will De'Anthony Melton's return have on this Warriors team? Do you see him as the missing defensive piece that can help Golden State reach another finals run? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button if you believe this team still has another championship left in them. And don't forget to subscribe to Warriors Nation News for every update, reaction, and game breakdown all season long. Because make no mistake, the Golden State Warriors are still here, still dangerous, still chasing greatness. And with Melton coming back, they might just be getting started.